Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Season 3 of the Rule 34 podcast. I'm Jack, joined by...
Dominic Castillo.
Oh, and Giovanni, my bad. Yeah, my bad.
Alright, so we are back here today on a Monday, on Martin Luther King Day. How are you two doing?
I've been pretty good. We're getting back into the rhythm of work, thankfully. So the monies, nothing much else has happened ever since. It's literally just been slow in terms of news. But it is, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And that's pretty cool. I think high school students. I think everybody has school off today. No, I think right. Sure.
More than likely.
More than likely, yeah. So we could take the time to rest a bit. Just chill for a bit. Other than that, Lakers lost yesterday. By 1 point. That's crazy. By 1 point. That's crazy.
They lost to the Sixers.
They indeed did by a single point. Everyone went home.
Out.
I saw LeBron James. It was crazy.
Shout out Westbrook. His failed layup, even though he had plenty of seconds to pass the ball, do something more productive, but he chose to choke instead.
He was fouled, right?
What's it called?
They had 2 timeouts too, bro. That's insane.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Someone was saying that the moment they lost the ball, they should have just called it off.
Agreed.
I mean, he more than likely will get it this season, but I don't know how it's gonna work for you guys, but it might be a crazy event to witness live. If it might happen this season, it might not. I mean, he still has about 300 points to go, but yesterday LeBron passed 38,000 career points in the NBA.
30.
Yeah, he's currently at 38,024 points. And like I said, I don't know if it's going to be this season, but he's 300 points away from passing Kareem, the all-time leader in NBA career points. So that might be a crazy event for you guys to witness live if you end up working.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, because you're going to see a ton of celebrities come out. It's going to be one of those things where, the moment he breaks the record, they're probably going to, call a timeout and the game's going to be on pause for, 5 minutes as they celebrate,
Yeah.
Imagine, Gio, if they still lose that game, though.
Would be not surprising at all, dude, to be honest with you.
It would be very on par for the Lakers to lose the game that LeBron passes Kareem. How about you, Gio? How have you been?
Pretty much like Dom. Getting back into the flow at work, which is nice. Getting actually 5 days a week instead of just once a week. I don't know why. My English is very bad this morning. Anyways, so yeah, that's been nice. Getting more money. Hanging out with the people at work has been a lot easier to do. I'm more comfortable with them now. I actually start joking around and stuff, which is nice. It's always nice to be comfortable in an environment that you're in so many hours in. But yeah. But besides that, been hanging out with the boys as usual. Playing Apex with Ricky and Willie. That's been the most stressful thing I've ever done in my life. My birthday's in 4 days, which is pretty pog.
Yeah.
But life's been good so far. Yeah, life's been good.
All right.
What about you, Jack?
I've been doing pretty well. Been watching a lot of the NFL playoff games. This is really the only time of the year that you catch me watching any other team but mine. And next week I get to finally see my team. But gotten a pretty crazy slate of games, all that have pretty much come down to the wire for the most part. And so been having fun with that. Can't wait to talk about it tomorrow. I hope the Cowboys lose today. And then other than that, I've just been chilling. I've been replaying Spider-Man, the PS4 one. I've been replaying through that, and I'm almost done with it again in my second replay, and it's just so fun, and I really love the story and characters of it all so much that I'm like, it's a long shot, but it would be crazy if like in the future they turned it into like some type of series or movie, but that would probably be very much hard to do, seeing as how you already have Sony and Marvel already like kind of butting heads about who Spider-Man belongs to, you know. So it would be kind of difficult for them to like then now be like, oh, here's another Spider-Man that is its own thing and isn't tied to anything. Because then you get into the realm of confusion, like where DC, they're like, oh, well, here's Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson with the Batman, but he's not connected to the mainline DC story that they're about to start telling, and he's not, like, it's two separate Batmans in two separate universes type thing. But that's just been what I've been doing. And then on top of that, you know, a couple times late at night with the boys, we've been hopping in Discord and watching some movies together, and that is what we're here today for. We watched 3 movies, a total of 3 movies, and let's start off with the first one, Dunkirk. Who wants to take a shot at just quickly summarizing Dunkirk?
Dominic.
Oh, what's up, man?
Summarize
Paying
for us.
attention.
All right, so Dunkirk. No, I was paying attention. So Dunkirk. I believe I'm pretty sure the movie split up into 3 different scenarios and 3 different storylines. We have the beginnings with the mole. In the middle, we have, I believe it's, the sea, and then the last we have the sky. Basically, the beginnings of the movie is 2, I think. What was it? 2 French? Was it 2 French people? I think it was.
What are you
Or
talking about?
the mole? Who were the 2 people?
It was one Englishman, and then the other was a French guy that
Oh,
I didn't know was French until the end.
All right, so 1 Frenchie, 1 Englishman. They're trying to board onto the ship to escape because, you know, war is not good. So they basically tried to board a ship to escape, but they couldn't because of just, I believe they were carrying a body with them that was a soldier that was injured. It didn't fare out so well as the boat was already leaving. It was already near max capacity, so that had to be unfortunately kicked off. However, enemy aircraft began to rain down bombs and start shooting and stuff, and it was not good. And then honestly, I don't recall all of the events. I just remember the main plot points. And then, if I recall correctly, we transfer into a different storyline, the sea, where we get, I believe it's a father with 2 kids or grandchildren. I don't remember exactly all the points, but they're on is a private little yacht boat thingy out at sea with 2 kids. They're out and about, and in the middle of their voyage, they find a stranded soldier out at sea. And basically what happens is that they pick him up. However, the poor soldier, I believe he's on an overturned boat or an overturned submarine, and the soldier himself is, I guess, feeling shocked. I'm not sure if it's shell shocked, if it was called that, but you could see that the poor guy was suffering. And even though the father himself wanted to come back to shore to try to save more people, the soldier kept on saying, no, you have to escape. You know, there's no point in going back because, if you go back, you're just going to get back into the war, and that's not what they want. And a bit of feud happens to them in between them, and then I believe the soldier accidentally hurts one of the kids, which results into his death later on to the movie, which is, pretty depressing. And then we transition into a third storyline named The Sky, in which we get, I forgot what they were called. I forgot, the Spitfires, yeah. 3 Spitfires, I believe, and then we get our main, I guess, protagonist in one of the Spitfires. What's it? I forgot the name. Damn. They're basically just trying to help out. They're trying to shoot down enemy planes, and then we also get different perspectives as they're shooting down enemy planes, which is also pretty cool when the stories collide at the end of the movie. And basically, the story continuously transitions between the 3 perspectives. I believe the movie goes back to the Frenchman and the English kid who tries to board on a different boat when coming back to shore. However, coming back into that boat only leads into problems as the boat gets turned down. The boat gets riddled with bullets, and the soldiers begin to find out that these 2 people, the French and the Englishman, are actually spies, and that's obviously not a good look for them. But the situation only gets worse as enemy combatants starts to shoot at the boat that they're in, and what makes things even more worse is that going back into the second storyline, back into the sea, we begin to see that the father and the 2 kids begin to scope out for another boat that was unfortunately turned down because it was shot down by enemy combatants, and they try to pick up all the soldiers that were almost killed by the boat overturning on its own. Not only that, but there was oil spill as well, which just leads to a fire hazard if a bullet were to hit the oil, or just in general any fires. So they try to save as many soldiers as they can. However, they couldn't save everyone, unfortunately, which sucks. We go back up into the skies. We see one of the Spitfires try to continuously dodge and move, and try to just avoid any bullets from the enemies. And unfortunately, I think one of them goes down. So that leaves 2. And the second one, I forgot what happens to the second one, but I know the main guy survives. However, he tries to, I guess, make sense that he knows he's going to run out of gasoline very soon. But he still keeps on his route for whatever reason when he could probably just land and gas up and just come back. I don't know why. But anyways, time goes further on. There's still 300, 100,000 soldiers still left at shore, wanting to go home, but they can't do anything because there's no boats to come by, and there's still a bunch of English boats that still arrive, and it's not looking good. It's not looking good for the poor guys. We go back into back to the Englishmen and those guys. If I remember what happens afterwards, I do not recall what happens afterwards, but I do know that coming back to the sea, what was it? They save more people, and I believe the poor kid unfortunately dies because that one soldier who hit the kid, he unfortunately dies. It's sad, it's depressing. We go back to the skies. That there's only one more Spitfire left, and the poor guy is on his own. And he does fortunately shoot off enemy combatants that were planning to end off any other soldier that was left off on the shores of Dunkirk. So thankfully, the guy does shoot him down. However, he himself is left stranded on the beach at the end of the movie because he himself stranded himself without any gasoline because he decided to come back. We don't know why, and then he gets captured at the end. However, at the end of the movie, we do get to see a good ending with a bunch of boats to rescue the leftover soldiers, and as well as we also get to see the the father and the remaining child to come back to shore and to rescue anybody else. And then we also see the English and the Frenchie come back home as well. They board a train, with everybody else as well. All the other soldiers who thankfully made it back onto that train to get back home, and they're honored as heroes at the end of the movie. And there's this one line in between the Englishman, I believe it was the Englishman, and just a regular civilian offering free coffee and free food to the soldiers, where he thanks them for the service, but the Englishman says, "We didn't do anything. We just arrived." But the civilian says, "And that's enough." And I'm like, "Whoa, that's cool." But yeah, then the movie basically ends off with them being honored as soldiers. With the unfortunate them dedicating their lives to the unfortunate ones who unfortunately lost their lives, whether up in the skies or up at sea. And it's it was depressing movie, kind of. It was not much of personal enjoyment. But, it is what it is. I guess I expected a bit more, but
I think it was just very confusing.
Okay. It was a little confusing, but
you're having to balance through 3 different stories.
Yeah, I kind of, because the 2 of the stories, the sea and the sky, was in the past, I believe, while the mole story was the present. But at some point, they began connecting to one another, even though they were different in terms of timeline. But I mean, I kind of made sense of it, but in the middle, I was confused.
Also, it gets it gets some points docked from it because Harry Styles is on my screen, and I don't need that.
I also agree.
What about you, Joe? What did you think?
I think it was a very, I guess, realistic interpretation of war, because most war films that we see, they're like this follows this one character who's like in all the action, there's bombs everywhere, and he still manages to survive. And it's exciting to watch, but like in reality, I guess this is what war is really like. You just have a bunch of cold men out in the open just wanting to go home. There's nothing really exciting about it. I mean, the Tom Hardy part where he's on the airplane was kind of cool. It's like the most action that we saw in the film, with him what's that called, dogfighting with the enemy. It was pretty cool. It was okay. It wasn't like the most fun movie to watch, but it was still a good watch, because like if you need something to watch, it's not like if you put it on, you're gonna regret putting it on. It's a good movie. It's just not a very entertaining movie, because I don't know, there's not really much, like it lacks a lot of like fundamental storytelling traits. Like there's very little character development. For the most part, the characters are kind of irrelevant to the actual story. It's just we just happen to see their point of view. Like it's basically like as if we were reading a biography. There we go. See, English, by the way, of a random soldier that just happened to be at the war. So I think it's a solid movie. I'd give it like a good 7.5 out of 10. But yeah, it wasn't, out of the 3, it was the least entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I agree. It's like a 7.5 is a good rating. Maybe 8, somewhere like there. This is a bit confusing, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
What rating would you give it, Dom?
I'll probably give it a 7. Like a solid 7, yeah.
All right. Well, our next movie after that was No Country for Old Men. Gio, you do this one.
Oh, you're going to have to excuse me because I don't remember some of those people. I don't remember one person's name. So, No Country for Old Men is an absolute classic. I've been wanting to watch it for a long time now, and I'm glad that we finally were able to. It follows the story of 3 men. There's a sheriff. Don't remember his name. But he's like this older man sheriff. There's the villain of the story, the psychopathic killer, Anton. And just run another countryman that happens who had just bad luck and ended up involved in a drug scheme, Llewellyn. So basically, we start off the movie introducing Anton when he was arrested by a policeman, and he was taken to the police station. And while the police officer wasn't looking, Anton kills him through strangulation using the handcuffs. Then he gets free. He takes the sheriff's car and he stops another civilian on the road, kills him using what was that thing called? I don't remember the name of the equipment, but it's basically this thing that they used to kill cows. Like they use air pressure, and then they just blow like a thing into the brain, like an inch deep, and then that's supposed to kill the cow without it feeling anything. So he's using that as his method of killing, I guess. One, to not leave any bullets behind, so it's untrackable, and two, it just seems inconspicuous, because everyone, you could see that, but you don't know what he's doing with it. He just thinks, oh, he's probably taking that to his house. He needs this kind of gas or whatever. I don't know. Kind of like hiding in plain sight, basically. So he kills the dude. He takes his car. He goes up he drives off, and that's when we turn over to Llewellyn's part of the story. We see this hunter out in the fields, out in the kind of like the desert kind of environment, looking at some, I want to say antelope, but it could be wrong. He shoots one, and then when he goes to track it down, he finds blood on the ground, but it's coming from the wrong direction that the deer, antelope, animal went off in. He looks to his left, he looks to his right, he sees a wounded dog, a pit bull, and he's like, that's suspicious. So he goes off in the opposite direction where the pit bull came from, and he finds a crime scene, which according to Dominic was kind of, which was referenced in Grand Theft Auto 5, because you could find that same scene in the game. So it was an exchange of drugs and money between, I guess, the Mexican cartel and whatever the other side was. I guess some American businessmen who were also shady. He finds that everyone's basically dead. They killed each other. He finds a truck full of drugs. I think it was cocaine. And he uses his hunting skills to track down the last man standing, which I don't know, that was kind of impressive that he was able to find the guy, using logical deduction. So he finds the last man standing. He's also dead, hiding on a tree, hiding next to a tree, lying next to a tree. And he finds a suitcase filled with money. I think it was, how much was it? $2 million or something like that. I don't remember the quantity. But he finds it, and then he decides to take the money home along with some guns that he found. And in doing so, puts a literal and figurative tracker on himself, because that money belongs to Anton, the psychopathic killer. So later on, we go back to Anton when he's escaped. He's met up with the people that were he was working with. They take him to the crime scene where they see all of the dead people, and Anton asks them a few questions, trying to get more information out of them, and then he ends up killing both of his associates, I guess, to cut loose ends or just to keep the money for himself. He gets the tracker from them because the thing, it's what was it called? It's basically a tracker, I guess, and then that's how he uses that to find Llewellyn, to find the money. After that, we go to the third person that's relevant, the most relevant person to the story, the sheriff. I don't remember his name, and he's, like I said, an older gentleman. He finds the crime scene with his partner. They obviously, after years of being a sheriff, he knows how things went down. and he's just trying to find clues, which somehow, using the van, Llewellyn's van. I just completely missed the part of the story. Anyways, so he finds the Llewellyn's van. He's like, oh, I know that guy. I know his van. I'm going to go look for him. And then he goes to the thing, and he notices that Anton was already there because he blew the lock. And then he's like, okay, so basically the premise of the story is Llewellyn has the money. Anton wants his money back and to kill anyone that inconvenienced him, basically. And the sheriff, who's a much older guy, is struggling to catch up with them. So it's basically a game of cat and mouse, but there's multiple. Each of them are a mouse. Anton and Llewellyn are the mice, technically, and the sheriff is the cat. But in Llewellyn's point of view, Anton is the cat. He's the mouse. So basically, they're trying to find each other for their own reasons, and throughout the story, they confront each other a few times. And the cool thing about No Country for Old Men is how, I guess, OP Anton is. Because at one point in the story, my voice is going. At one point in the story, the businessmen that were doing the shady stuff with him contracted this like expert bounty hunter, I guess. And he gets completely outplayed by Anton. Anton finds him first before Carson could find him. He takes him up to his room. They talk a little bit. He does this whole, his whole weird conversations with his victims.
Mm-hmm.
And he ends up killing Carson. So Carson was kind of, I don't know, he was kind of like the wild card, but Anton just completely destroys it. So then more stuff happens. The sheriff contacts Llewellyn's wife to try to try to help him, try to save him from Anton, because Anton's, this very crazy killer who's like, on top of the game. More stuff happens. Like, I don't want to ruin the plot because it's a really good movie, and whoever's listening should go watch it for themselves, because I don't know, I find it kind of pointless to just tell the entire plot of the thing and then the viewer is like, oh, I don't have to watch it anymore because I know what happened. So basically, more stuff happens. The ending is probably like top 10 of all time because of how well written it was. I don't know, just like the whole dialogue between characters was really good. Like the whole expectations of it, we expected Anton to find Llewellyn and him dealing with him, but actually because of some completely what's the word I'm looking for? Clueless grandmother ends up getting him killed, and then it's like the ending scene is just so good to me because the wife knew that she wasn't free. Like, she knew that something was still wrong with the whole situation. Like, everybody is basically dead. Anton has his money, I think. Yeah, at the end he got his money back because he found the thing and he blew the thing to get the thing. Yeah. So then she knows something's wrong. But then so when she goes back home after the funeral of her mother, Anton is there waiting for him in her house, just sitting in a corner. And then after some very interesting dialogue, Anton does the thing where he flips the coin and tells his victim to call it. If they call it correctly, they get to live. If they call it wrong, he kills them. And what I really like about that scene is that we know from the Carson scene that he avoids getting blood on himself, on his shoes. So after he kills the wife inside the house, he checks his shoes. And from, referring back to the Carson scene, we know he's checking his shoes for blood. So the wife is dead. But the thing that I really like about that cut is we don't actually see the wife die. We don't hear a gunshot. We don't see nothing. We're kind of left in the dark. But it goes from that very intense scene between Anton and the wife to it cuts, Anton leaving the house, and it's everybody outside everything outside is normal. Birds are chirping. There's kids riding their bikes like it's a normal day. Everyone's completely clueless that someone was just murdered in that house. I love the contrast between that, the very tense scene, Anton, the wife, possible death, to just everyone on the outside being completely clueless. Even the audience is completely clueless because we don't know what happens until you kind of like put it together in your brain. Like everyone outside of the house is just completely clueless, and that's like really good editing. I love that scene so much. And then after that, Anton gets in a car crash. He pays the kid some money because he's hurt, but he doesn't want the cops to find him because obviously that's bad because he's a killer. So then he just walks off. We don't actually get an ending. Anton goes away. He walks away from the car scene, severely injured. Llewellyn is, KIA. The sheriff has a very existential moment in realizing that he's way too old to be doing this, like to continue being the sheriff, because all the younger guys are just beating him to it. Like throughout the entire story, we saw how at first he was close, but then the other two just went on ahead of him, and he was like 10 steps behind them. He was completely lost compared to the other two. Like the other two were finding each other very easily, but he was just like, I don't know, like I can't keep up, and he realizes that. So he has a very like existential moment where he talks to his brother, or he talks to an old guy. I don't know what relation he has to the sheriff, but after that, this conversation, he's like, I think it's time for me to put my boots up and just retire. So he does retire, and then he has a very interesting conversation with his wife. He says that he had a dream. Actually, I won't tell you what it was, but whoever's listening, it's probably just Joseph's dad, please watch No Country for Old Men if you haven't yet, which is, I'd assume he'd probably seen it by now, right? But whatever, just watch it. It's really good. Tell Marco to watch it too. It's really good.
They both have seen it, I'm pretty sure. Dude, they love movies.
Dude, that movie's so good.
They're the ones that gave me like half the list I gave to you guys. Another movie my dad wants us to watch is one called The Exam. But
The Exam?
Yeah, it's a short movie, but it's pretty interesting. What ratings would you guys give No Country for Old Men?
I would give it a 10 out of 10.
Dom?
Personally, I would also give it a 10 out of 10. Absolute classic.
What were some of your thoughts on the movie, Dom?
Personally, looking back on it, I feel like there was a lot of symbolic meanings, especially with Bell. The sheriff's name, Bell's dreams. I was thinking about mostly the two stories and the two dreams that Bell has had. That basically that since the majority of the movie he's been basically in the sidelines. He's been not doing his job. Like first of all, he never recovered the money. He never recovered those drugs from the narc deal, and he never busted Anton. And at the end, he never managed to save the life of Llewellyn. And I feel like with all those things, and the fact that the poor guy is already old, he's already thinking of retirement. And the fact that even though he has the role of sheriff, he not once, except for that one moment, maybe, I'm not sure. I'm still thinking of the one moment where Bell is about to enter the motel where Llewellyn died. I'm not sure if that moment was imagined or not, where he imagined Anton to be on the other side of that door. Because there's no way Anton just disappears just like that. But anyways. We come to terms to see that Bell, I would assume, guilty or feels guilty about his actions, not being able to save or, punish anyone when he's supposed to be, the one person that is meant to, like, try to stop and try to control the situation. But, because of his actions, not doing the best he could. Well, we literally got the worst possible ending in all front with just with Bell surviving and Anton just escaping with the money. And, with all, regardless that he's a psychopathic killer, he still has a bunch of deaths beneath him. But I'm pretty sure I'm still missing a lot of, other things. But no, yeah. Other than that, solid, good movie, PogChamp.
Yeah, I agree. It was very intense. It was also sort of how would you put it? It was nerve-wracking a bit because Anton was always showing up in some of almost like, if you want to say, the most perfectly timed moments, like when when he think he had just gone with the hotel scene, you remember, where he gets 2 different hotel rooms, and he hears them shooting the other people in the other room, and you think, oh, he's gotten away, and then he starts shooting at him. He has to run and escape, and then he gets into the car and he thinks he's safe, but then he shoots the taxi driver, and he has to try and get out of there on his own. That was a pretty cool moment. And then I think my only complaint, but I don't know if you could really call it a complaint, but you basically see him get everyone, but then when it finally comes down to him finally getting his money back and getting to the main guy he's been after his entire time, you don't see it. You just see the aftermath. And you're just I thought the whole movie was building up to that final face-off between them,
Yeah.
But it was still pretty good. I think I agree with you. I think give it a 10 out of 10. That was a really good movie. Really good acting, Anton was very menacing in, how would you put it, in a very cold, I don't know how to describe it, but the actor just played that role very well, and he definitely gives you the psycho killer vibes of it, that he's just this calm, methodical man, but yet he's murdered over, I don't know, 10 people in this movie probably.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. But with that being said, I doubt 7 minutes is enough time to cover the final movie. Hold on. Well, just kind of speed it up. The final movie we watched was Dune. Came out 2021, right? Yeah, it came out 2021. What are your guys' thoughts on Dune?
At first, I really loved it. After I was during the watching of it, I was paying really close attention to everything because I knew that Dune won best VFX, and I was literally just trying to digest every single VFX that I saw and trying to break it down in my head. And I guess that kind of pumped up the score for me a little bit. But then after thinking about it for the next day and the day after, I thought about it for a little bit. I'm not sure I really enjoyed the movie because there was a lot of aspects that I didn't like the whole memory thing when he was having the dreams and he was seeing those visions. I was like, Jesus Christ, dude! Every time we saw a vision, it was just Zendaya and with a bunch of sun flare in front of her. It's oh, who's this mystery person? Oh, we know who it is. It's Zendaya and her character. After a while, it just got old, dude. Holy damn. And I didn't like that. I didn't like the stupid little romance that's going to happen between the two. The overall progression of the story was nice, I guess. But for what happened at the end, it felt like they could have just done that in the first hour and done more in the second hour. Because 2 hours and 20 minutes it's a lot of screen time for a movie. And for the outcome of those 2 hours, we basically know very little of what's going on. I feel like they could have not rush it, because rushing it is bad. But if you look at the Fellowship of the Ring, for example, that's pretty much the same screen runtime, but we got so much out of it. We got character development, character deaths, a bunch of cliffhangers, introduction of like the next part of the story. Here, what we got was a dude goes to a different planet. They get betrayed, even though they saw it coming. They didn't prepare, and then everyone dies. He goes off with his what's it called, concubine mother ish. I don't know. And then they find Zendaya's group, and then I was like, oh, I have to stay with them if I want to be great, or I want to be, I want to get revenge for my father, or whatever he said. I don't know. And the movie ends. Like, we could have done that in the first hour. Come on, man. That's just me. I give it like a 7 out of 10. It wasn't that good.
What do you think, Dom?
I feel like the story was, as Gio mentioned, it was a little generic. It was like, okay, the kid has future visions, and now it's up to him to like save the world or save his people or save the planet. It's like, all right, we get it, but like, can we move on? And I hate the fact that there's gonna be a Dune 2 because it ended off in a cliffhanger. When, as Gio mentioned, the entire plot of the story, I can assume, can be summarized in just one movie. But no. We have to do it again. We have to watch it again. It's coming this year in November, I think, or at the end of this year. But still, I mean, I guess the visuals can make up for it. But other than that, there's nothing much else comes really across in terms of the storyline. It's okay. It's cool, I guess. But it's slightly generic. But I mean, I just hope there's like plot line twists, just thrown in there. I haven't read the book, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be some sort of plot line, maybe twist, maybe, I hope. But I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. I kind of enjoyed it, but it was generic. Zendaya's appearance was just, I mean, I guess they just threw her in just so they could get more money off of her. And yeah, I'll probably give it a 7.5 because of the visuals. Just that 0.5 makes it for the visuals, but everything else was just, a sad thwomp.
All right. Yeah, I agreed with Gio when we first finished the movie. It's like, it's kind of difficult to rate it because it's like a setup movie, Like, it's only, like, because there's going to be multiple parts to this whole series, so it's kind of difficult in a sense to set it up. Or rate it, because it's a setup. But then again, there's been like movies in the past that like it's clearly part of a series, but yeah, it still establishes itself as its own movie to watch. Where a lot of stuff was setting up and kind of getting introducing you to the world and stuff of it. Like the different armors that they were using, the different like terminology, such as like what's the importance of this race and this group of people and all that. But at the same time, a lot of it just felt like build up, and then like how Gio was saying, like that final conclusion that we get, it's like the whole movie was building up to this so we can continue on to the second one. I don't know if it did that the best. A lot of the visuals were really good. I really liked a lot of the soundtrack in it as well. But I don't know, it's so difficult to rate it because it's a setup, but I think you guys are kind of right. Like 7.5, 8 is pretty good. Maybe it could go up when you have the full story in front of you, but how long are we going to have to wait to get the full story in front of us,
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a while. But with that being said, thank you all for joining for this triple movie review episode of the Rule 34 podcast. I'm Jack, joined by
Dominic Castillo.
Giovanni.
Thank you all for joining us for this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one.